right tackle, and he's into the end zone for
The North Shore Mustangs win the inaugural Midget Championship at the 2017 Interprovincial Bowl Series.
Banass sets up, throws, and it's picked off by Traore at the 20. One man to beat. Traore still on his feet. He'll score.
Win the Bantam Championship in the Interprovincial Bowl Series.
Mustangs. White burns out to his left, throws that one, and that's picked off. And James Donnelly with the pick.
Dropping back to pass as a man deep in the end zone, and he got it. It's a touchdown!
That is...
And puts it right in the hands of Jaheim Newton. Newton still on his feet at the 10. Newton will score!
Rocky Balboa, the Italian style.
It's fumbled and picked up by the Raiders, and it looks like they're going to take this one all the way back to the 20 and now to the 10, and it is a touchdown for the Myers Riders. It off to Moak once again. Will try to get his way down the outside, breaks a tackle, gets to the goal line, and he scores. It's a touchdown.
That is...
You know what's going on. Is that humiliate you?
HESN would like to thank Abley Productions for its support of this broadcast.
All right, welcome to the final game of the Interprovincial Bowl Championship Series between the West Ottawa Knights and the Orleans Raftsmen. This is kind of an interesting matchup here, as I've been mentioning all day if you've been with us on the other broadcasts. But this is the Midget Interprovincial Bowl, so this is the main event here. 16, 17, and 18-year-olds. There are 18-year-olds on the West Ottawa team, but not on the Raftsmen. So that the Raftsmen actually competed in the QMFL First Division, and they went 8-2. One of their two losses came from the West Ottawa Knights. So everyone eager to see these two teams towards the end of the season. They both won their respective championships, and now they're here playing against each other in the Interprovincial Championship. So we're going to step aside. We're going to have the kickoff when we come back. Stay tuned. Thanks for being with us. Joined in the studio, we have a guest on the broadcast, Devin from, well,
CKDJ, the Algonquin.
okay, so it's a familiar voice if you watch the A-Cup championships with us. Devin called those games and put in a lot of time. Here we are with the kickoff. Orleans will kick off to the West Ottawa Knights. That is received cleanly by number 82 for the Knights, who takes it up the left side and meets a couple defenders right off the bat. And just like that, we're into the game. These games roll over pretty quick for each other.
There's a good connection with the ball there.
Yeah, it was a good kick. Number 82, we're just trying to find our rosters here. I don't see an 82 on the list, so it's been an issue all day here is finding this. But here we go, 1st and 10 for the Knights, and they hand off at the middle. That's Roca, who gets a few, but is defended well by the interior of that Orleans defense.
It's going to be interesting to see the defenses here. We know that both teams are defensive teams.
Oh, and a botched snap there. That's an unusual person playing quarterback right now. That's the Ferguson, Ferdinand taking the snaps as quarterback. So that's something that we weren't anticipating with Vanasse, who's been kind of the starter all season there after taking over for Valentino at around week 4 or 5. But they're using him now, and he's going to be in there for 2nd down as well.
It is interesting to see why they have such great success with Vanasse all season and decide to pull him out now, but not sure what's going on there.
Well, it's a long season. Maybe perhaps he wasn't feeling 100%, and they decided to go there. But I'll tell you, this changes the complexion of the offense completely for the Knights. And, you know, this is something that they made it to this game last year, and they ended up losing to the Sun Youth Hornets. So I talked to a lot of people in Canada, and they were saying how important this game was to finish off the season and show and prove everyone that they can win the big one. It's one thing winning the Ottawa Championship, but the Interprovincial Bowl is something completely different. A beautiful high punt by Coleman that falls forward. They're gonna be a no yards flag down on the field, but number 5 for the Rassman get control.
Good play there by the Rassman, taking the second, let the ball hit the ground and get your bearings before you can go.
Oh, I think they have the Rassman and the Knights rosters wrong on here. So I think this is the Rassman here, and that's the Knights. So we're just trying to get our bearings here on a.
I'm not sure about that. Sorry about this, but Vanasse is on the bottom roster. It's a little bit mixed up.
Well, we're gonna do our best here with a couple of rosters that are incorrect. So quarterback for the Rassman hands off to number 33 right up the middle, and that's good for about 6 yards.
That is the exact kind of run you want at this point in the game, starting it up, grinding up the field, getting about 7 yards. It's all you can ask for at this point.
So that's Nicholas Rico taking the snaps for the Orleans Rassman. They've kind of had 2 quarterbacks throughout the year. They have Doherty, who's played receiver, but he can step in as a capable quarterback. And in fact, when they played their Knights the last time, it was Doherty that kind of fueled the comeback. So Rico is wrapped up in the backfield there by number 22 of the Knights.
He's wrapped up behind the line there, and looks like he got his fingers in the mask there on the run. So we have a penalty on the field. Refs are convening in the center.
So scoreless here. We're just 2 teams are starting to test themselves out here, and it is a flag. What's
face mask?
Face mask on the Rassman. So that'll bring them back quite a bit and put them in a hole to start their series. But Nicholas Rico, a quarterback for the Rassman, very mobile. You're going to see them want to move him around a lot. It was actually the semifinal game against the Greenfield Park Packers that they started the game with Doherty, and then they ended up switching to Rico in the second half, and he kind of kick-started that comeback and got the offense moving, and it was the run-pass-read option that started to get the team on track. So look for that.
Looks like they have just switched up the quarterbacks.
Yeah, it looks like Doherty's coming in at quarterback now. So they're able to do this. And Doherty steps back, and he's going to go deep. He throws into double coverage, though, and that's intercepted by number 17 on the Knights.
But there is a flag on the play.
So what number 17, do we have a name there?
I do not have a 17 on either roster.
Doesn't look like we have a 17 on the roster. So I think that was Carcati playing free safety, but we can't be certain. Or that's number 17 playing corner there, but we don't have a name for him.
Oh, sorry, is it Reed? Roman Reed, is that?
It's listed as a Rasman, but here we go. Rasman, 1st and 10. They hand off to number 33, who's gashes the defense for about 9 yards before he's wrapped up and pushed backwards. Let's go back to that interception here.
We'll say, as you've noticed, there was a flag on the interception, so it didn't count, unfortunately, for the Knights. But it was still a good play left.
Got a couple issues there with the replay. We'll have to go back to that when we get a chance. But right now, back to live action. 1st and 10 to go. Oh, a high snap that's handled by Rico. And then Ricky Davidson puts a shoulder into the quarterback early on, lets him know that Knights defense is going to be there all night.
Lots of confusion behind the line there when that ball was snapped up. We saw the flow was stopped. 2 of the Rasmussen players were basically staring each other in the eye, trying to figure out what was going on.
So the Rasmussen with the ball. And that ball goes incomplete. Looks like they were looking for receiver number 12. That's Colin Doherty, I believe, was the intended receiver. So Doherty goes in at quarterback for one play, throws an interception, and now he's back out as the slot back on the strong side. Rico in the shotgun. 2 running backs beside him for protection. He goes for a quick hook to number 10. And that's Adam.
That is a beautiful play that's a beautiful 1st down play. Unfortunately, they only made it connect on the 3rd down, so it looks like the punting team is going to be coming out now.
So I think that was Della Val who made the catch there, but as you said, Devin, not enough to convert. Now a punting situation, but I would think if I'm the Rasmussen, I'd say if you get a clean look, you take off and run with that. Now it's the Cumberbatch, one of the Cumberbatch twins on the punt. That's number 24.
The punt was kicked up into the Knights bench, so it would have went out of bounds.
That's Eric Cumberbatch punting, and he's an athletic defensive back, so he can definitely he can run if he needs to. We got a scoreboard that says 21-0, but I'm pretty certain I didn't miss 3 touchdowns here yet. The Knights back on offense, and that's number 2 who gets a lane in the middle there, dekes out the free safety, and he's going to convert for another 1st down for the Knights. So far it's been a little bit of this, a little bit of that for the Knights, but we don't know why Connor Van Ass is not the quarterback for the Knights. Can't explain that one.
Just looking at their bench here to see if I see his number on the sidelines. I'm not sure if he is even here.
He wears number 9. So this time Roca up the middle, and he gets a 1st down. So far the Knights in their 2nd possession on offense have gotten 3 straight first downs on the Orleans Raspen.
You see it a lot, especially at this level. It takes a minute for the for the offenses to warm up and get going in this game. And
That's
it looks
right.
like the Knights offense has.
This time they
woken up.
give it to Coleman, who goes off the left side on the jet sweep. And he is, if he doesn't have a first down, he's very close to one. And if you look at this Raspen defense, I mean, they are star-studded at most every position. So it's going to be important for the Raspen to settle down on defense, get a read on what's happening. I'm sure, like us, they're not expecting to see Ferdinand at quarterback. But Roca gets the handoff, and sporting the visor again, he rumbles for about 3 or 4 yards there on, and as you can see, Devin, the Knights come out with a pretty quick hitting offense. They're fast-paced.
They are. It's a lot of running right now.
And the Wildcat offense goes off the left tackle there, and
It is great. It is working for them, which is an upside to this so far. You've seen this this kind of offense get broken up relatively easily, but they've got good coverage from the O-line and some fast runners in the backfield, and they're able to make this work.
to the Knights, and Ferdinand, had a chance to be wrapped up there in the backfield. He throws to Coleman. They say it's incomplete, but that just goes to show you how elusive this quarterback can be. He's really a receiver and a skilled player, but he's able to step in. He's played a couple games at quarterback this year and last year. He's their backup.
It's a good block shed there for sure. Thought that he was going down 5 yards back, and they were able to get that ball away.
They go back to Coleman. Now, last year, Coleman went into the game as really the star receiver, the number one X factor for the Knights, and he got injured heading into the halftime at the Interprovincial Bowl last year. This year, hoping he can stay healthy to deliver for his Knights here, and it'll be third down now. And the pass out to the flats. I believe they're going to number 81 there. Adam Telfer on the reception. And that will bring up fourth down. So Nathan Coleman is a great place kicker. Somebody that not only is a great receiver, but he can also kick. So I think they're going to go for the 3 here early on and not try to gamble too much too early.
It's definitely a safe move. We saw that if you were watching in the last in the Ottawa Champions as well. They started off with a field goal, and we saw how that game went. So these 3 points are definitely could be very important for this team.
Oh, and it's wide left. So they don't get it, and now there's a opportunity for a return by Cumberbatch. That's Eric Cumberbatch. It was just dragged from behind by the kicker, Nathan Coleman. So this, I believe, is huge for the Raspen, just to dodge those 3 points early and get a good return.
It's a great field position to start out. You couldn't ask for anything more. They've got 3 minutes left about 4 minutes left in this first quarter. Definitely want to get some points on the board in this offensive drive.
That's if that clock's right.
Yeah, that is if that clock is right. The scoreboard, we are not 100% sure about it.
So here we go after that missed field goal by the Knights. The Raspen have 1st and 10. They decide to do a quick pitch to their right to number 15, who goes for close to a first down. I think he'll be awarded 9 yards on that run.
Looks like they're going to actually give him a 7 yards on that one.
And another little piece of trivia here or info. The running back there, number 15, is Spedicini, who played for the Cumberland Panthers last year in the Bantam Interprovincial Bowl. They lost that game, but now he's back in another Interprovincial Bowl, but this time for a Raspen. And he takes that carry and gets even closer to a first down. But, it looks like it's a fumble. He
Ball
might
was
have
fumbled, and officials are signaling a turnover. This so far has been a game of upsets with the missed field goal and the great return, and now a fumble on the same drive.
That's right. That's what you don't want. I mean, the Rasmen are starting to get some traction on offense, and they turn the ball over on Spedicini's second carry. And here we go. Knights back to the offense. Kasim Ferdinand hands off to, I think that's Roca on the carry again. They're going to Roca a lot. He is a workhorse. He came up from the bantam level this year, and he hasn't skipped a beat competing with the older kids. He's a 16-year-old in the midget league, and he's a starting running back on a championship team playing in an interprovincial bowl. So all those kids moving up to midget this year, take notice of Roca and what he's been able to do for his Knights team.
This Knights team so far in this season has been a team of rookies. If you look at their lineup, their number 9 Connor Vanasse, who has been their quarterback for most of the year, is also coming up from Bantam this year.
There you go. Get a look of the Rasmen coaches. They are in it. This is a big game for that franchise. And Kasim Ferdinand is making it hard on him. He's dragged down by Eric Cumberbatch. We've said his name a lot so far. A little bit of pushing after the whistle there as Kasim Ferdinand shows off his athletic ability. I know that there's a lot of interest in the Ferdinand brothers. Carleton University, Ottawa University, Queen's University, very interested in these young Ferdinand twins. And a quick handoff to Roca up the middle, and he finds a seam, and he gets into the secondary before he is finally caught from behind by number 21 on the defense of the Rasmen. That's number 21, Brendan Shaw.
That is a beautiful example of making something out of nothing. As he come up to the line, there was all sorts of pressure coming through that O-line. He found a hole, made it up for a beautiful run, and now they're in the red zone with
Brandon Shaw, also Cumberland Panthers product, playing in the secondary for the Rasmen this year. And that time, 95 stops any forward progress of the Knights with a huge tackle.
It's looking like the Rasmen are starting to bring a little bit more pressure up on that O-line, sending 4 plus a linebacker.
And this time, flag down, but the Knights get into the end zone. Will it stand? Referee.
The referee who threw the flag waved off the touchdown, so it's most likely going to be a holding of some sort on the Canada team.
Waiting for the call of the referees here to see what they decide as they convene.
Looking like there was 2 different referees who threw an infraction flag on the line.
Here's the call, number 49, head referee for this game.
I didn't quite get the signal, but it is going
Holding
back
on
Canada.
offense. It looks like there's 2 penalties on either team, but they're going to wave off the touchdown.
So now looking at a more traditional 10 yards to that end zone than the normal, than the 5 they were just facing.
Here we go. Coleman on the jet sweep. And he is wrapped up by Eric Cumberbatch with a huge open field tackle, but a player down for the Rasmen in the secondary. But I mean, this is for all the marbles and fascinating that actually the Interprovincial Bowl is 2 Ottawa teams in it, because the Rasmen playing in the QMFL this year, granted 1-year access to that league. We'll see where they play next year in 2020. But right now they're representing the QMFL as their champion and trying to hold the Knights out of the end zone here early on. So if we go back to that interception early on, we'll see that Doherty drops back, goes deep, and he goes into double coverage there. So an ill-advised throw early on turned the ball over. But here we come back to live action. So it'll be 1st and 10 here. 7 seconds left in the first quarter. Kasim Ferdinand goes deep through the goalpost to Coleman, the intended receiver, but that's defended well by Eric Cumberbatch, step for step with Coleman.
Was a attempt there. Looks like the kicking team is going to come back out and try and get the 3 on the board again before the end of this first quarter.
So far I'm impressed with the Raftsmen defense, being able to keep the Knights off the board.
For sure, this so far has been a game of defense, and as I said, if anybody listened to our broadcast of the Ottawa finals, that is a game that every football person loves. You see the defense coming out and stopping the offense.
So the kick
Is wide again to the other side.
missed again by Coleman.
But it went through the end zone. So
that'll be 1 point. But uncharacteristic of Nathan Coleman missing. He's usually Mr. Automatic for the West Ottawa Knights here as their kicker.
What we're doing is we're handicapping games. We're handicapping the games in Las Vegas.
So it'll be 1-0 for
the Canada team, but our scoreboard is still not fixed here. Last play of the quarter is going to be an incomplete pass out on the right side of the field there.
So I'm still waiting to see what happened to Vanasse. I mean, I haven't heard anything. I don't know why Connor Vanasse isn't the quarterback here in this game. And I mean, when you play with a composition all season and then you lose your starting quarterback, I mean, it really shrinks your playbook quite a bit.
It does for sure. And Connor Vanasse was definitely, as we saw all season, a throwing quarterback. He could throw those bombs down the field. None of them were very high arcing.
But here we go. It's 1st and 10 for the Orleans Raftsmen. And their quarterback keeps it himself off the right side, puts his shoulder down, but is run out of bounds after 1 yard gain. That is
not on our list.
That's Nicholas Rico, quarterback for the Raftsmen here. And as we said at the top of the broadcast, this kid can run. He's not afraid to take off with it himself, and that's got to be a part of the Raftsmen's offensive strategy, is to get him in open space and let him be the athlete that he is.
It is great to see a team who can switch out their quarterback so fluently and still have success in the offense.
It is tough to do. This time, Rico wrapped up by 3 or 4 defenders, led by number 41 on the defense for the Knights.
Looking here, that's going to be Joe Brennan, I believe.
Joe Brennan it is. And that sets up a 4th down punting situation for the Raftsmen, and back there to return. You don't have Kasim Ferdinand, which is usually the return guy, because he's playing quarterback. It's now number 24, McCardle, and also 81, Telfer, I believe, who wisely steps out of bounds.
That's not the biggest return we've seen all night, but still a good return for that number 82 player.
My mistake. It's William Kalanji who actually returned that punt back for the Knights.
See it here, Canada. Curious to see.
Roca off the left tackle, cuts back across the field and puts his head down and moves the chains for the West Ottawa Knights, and adding a little bit of attitude in that run.
coming out to show that you may be able to stop our return, but you're never going to stop this offensive machine that's coming down the field now.
Well, I think, listen, the Knights have gone undefeated for 2 years in the regular season. They've won the Ottawa Championship 2 years in a row. They lost in the Interprovincial Bowl last year, and now they're being shut out, really, of the first half against the Rasmussen. I think they've, at this point, the third series on offense, they're saying, boys, let's get this together. And
starting to get fed up with the
Yeah,
scoreless game or
a
the
little bit.
low-scoring game now, I guess.
I think so. So here we go. 5-pack offense. Ferdinand, a whistle blows that play dead, but they were going to either fake the handoff to Roca and
I
let
think we have a timeout was called.
Kasim take it himself. But a timeout is on field. We're going to step aside shortly. We'll be back after the timeout. Thanks for being with us. And here we are back from the timeout. 1st and 10 for the Knights. They hand it off to Roca off the left side, and he's tackled by number 9, Austin Lachine for the Orleans Rasmussen. But as we were talking about, Devin, you know, the Knights are accustomed to scoring a lot of points and never being down in games, going undefeated 2 years in a row.
It's 2 years in a row. It's good to see. In the words I've spoken with their head coach, there's going to be a flag on this play.
And that's Coleman off the weak side on the jet sweep, and he is tackled immediately, wrapped up. So it's 1-0, but you're saying you're talking to Jimmy Fata, head coach of the Knights?
Yeah, so in the talks I had with him after their championship win last week, he was saying that he is amazed at the win and that it doesn't happen very often in football, so they definitely take that day after day and don't take that for granted at all, which is a great coaching move by him, if I can say that.
Well, one thing Jimmy has done is surrounded himself with some great coaches on defense and on offense. He's got some really high caliber coaches, and the kids love playing for him, so that's a recipe for success. And here we go on 3rd down. Ferdinand fakes the jet sweep to Coleman, and this time takes it up the middle, and thought he had a little bit more room than he actually did in the end.
It looks like there was a block up the middle that got dropped there, which led to that not huge gain. Still a gain, but not what they need.
I'll tell you, I'm extremely impressed with the defense of the Rasmussen at this point in the game. I mean, 8:36 in the second quarter left, and West Ottawa has 1 point. So that's unbelievable. And Coleman lines up for his 3rd attempt for a field goal tonight. I wouldn't be surprised if they fake this one, to be honest.
Oh.
They're going to boot it, though. This time it's through.
So it's now 4-0 lead for the Knights. Not as big of a lead as they may have wanted, but still a lead nonetheless.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, certainly it's no surprise that the offense is taking a little while to get going, seeing as how their starting quarterback is absent from this game. I don't know. There was, if you do recall, last weekend, Vanasse did go down with a dislocated knee just briefly. He came back in 2 series later. But I wonder if that knee issue is maybe plaguing him this week as the temperature dropped.
The temperature's dropping. And we noticed a lot in the last game, too, cramps and stuff. So the temperature definitely in effect.
So if I had to put my money on it, I think probably that knee is maybe giving him a little bit of discomfort this week. And that's why we're seeing Kasim Ferdinand taking the snaps as quarterback. But here we go. Coleman going to kick off to the Rasmussen, and looks like they're anticipating it to go deep, which it does. And that goes back to the returner, number 25 for the Rathsmen, who is tackled by number 30 immediately.
That's great running your lanes defense there on that special team play.
David Finney, good call, Devin. Yeah,
by the Knights, they're running their lanes down the field. All three of them there. He had nowhere to go. If he went left, he had a different number. Right, the same story.
And that was Ethan Wilson who returned the ball for the Rathsmen. And this is midget football in the area here. A lot has been talked about over the years of midget football on the decline, maybe extinct even. And here we are in the 3rd annual Interprovincial Bowl since that was invented. And look at the quality of football here. The age groups were also changed. That's the other thing we should mention. It was about 10 years after OAC was taken away that the Midget League hadn't changed the age groups. We took away the 19-year-olds. Those would then be shuffled on to the to the junior level. And what we're doing is we're getting the 16, 17, 18-year-olds. So in Ottawa, you have 3 years to build a program, which is more similar, more akin to the university level, where you have players for 3 or 4 or 5 years sometimes.
For sure. It's another great joy that I love about the McCaffrey football program that we'll talk about after this play.
So I think that was Avery Bent running up the middle, and he gets about 4 or 5, sets up a 3rd and short situation for the Orleans Rathsmen.
But as I was saying, I love the NCAFA setup. The way they do it is because you have these players, and these players get together whenever they join, might be in Mosquito, and come up through the ranks. So they're learning football together, and it makes these bonds that are unbreakable for these teams.
And sometimes you when you get a good team, you see them in the A-Cup year after year because these teams stay together for so long. And in a way, you're kind of seeing that happen right now because a lot of the Cumberland Panthers are now Orleans Rathsmen this year. And what you saw at the Mosquito level was the Canada Knights getting the A-Cup championship. And then at Bantam, they reappeared with a lot of these players, and they played the Cumberland Panthers.
Yep.
And now here we are at Midget. The Knights are in the Interprovincial Bowl, and a lot of the Panthers are playing with a lot of the Orleans Bengals on this Rathsmen squad.
I can tell you, I've played with a lot of the older players on both of these teams in my last few years in the Ottawa Sooners, with and against.
So a punting situation for the Rathsmen. They kick it back to the Knights, and that is returned by number 24 cleanly. And before he is kind of ripped to the ground there at around center field.
It's going to be a flag on the play. Looks like it's after the catch.
And that's Denny Ferdinand, the other Ferdinand player out there taking that. He plays DB, and he's also a return man here tonight for the Knights. So with 6 minutes left in the first half, we only have a 4-0 ball game.
Which is for a lot of people, considered a very boring game, but I have been on my feet for most of this game. It is great to see these defenses coming up, stumping the offense. 5 receiver set.
They hand off to Roca, who gets wrapped up by number 7 right away. That's Nicholas DeCoste with the tackle. And he's coming down from his, I believe, could be middle linebacker position. This time, Ferdinand keeps the ball himself up the middle, and only maybe a yard on that play.
This Rathsmen defense right now making it very difficult to get runs up the middle. If you look, they're sending five guys at the line, which means there's no double teams on the offensive line's part, which makes it very difficult to open up these holes up the middle.
It's a handoff. Oh, and a fumble by Roca. He gets back on it, picks it up, but he's going to lose maybe 20 yards on this play. So a big mistake for the Knights there on that play.
See the Knights offense unraveling just a little bit here. Interesting to see what the coaching staff is going to do to try and tighten this offense back up. A lot of pressure coming through that offensive line. It could be just because they've been playing for the first half, and we'll see it rectified in the 5 minutes at halftime.
Well, you
Everybody
see
gets a little
there
bit of break.
they just kind of lost the handle there as they get ready for a punt. Back to live action here. The snap and a kind of a bobbled snap by Coleman there too, but he gets out and he throws, but it's deflected by number 13. So just kind of everything that could have gone wrong on that play goes wrong.
Everything that, for sure, 100%. That had the ability to be a great play. Unfortunately, the Rassman defense up there and tipping it off. And not great field position, great field position for the Rassman now. It's gonna be interesting to see this Canada defense come out.
You can hear the wind starting to howl, Devin.
For sure, it's
It is getting colder as night is completely fallen upon TD Stadium here. Just a quick recap on the day. The Mosquito Interprovincial Bowl was won by the Canada Knights over the LaSalle Warriors. And then at Pee Wee, the Myers Riders fell to the St. Laurent Spartans. And then at Bantam, the St. Hubert Rebels were just a little bit too much for the Myers Riders at Bantam. And now here we are. We're either going to have Orleans, the East End team of Ottawa, or the West End team, the Knights. Reign supremacy in midget football in Ottawa and Montreal area.
beautiful catch there on that play by the number 1, catching it in coverage.
That's Johnny, a dude who has played kind of all over the city, really. Johnny's played for the Cumberland Panthers in the summer OVFL and OPFL leagues. He won a championship there when I was coaching with the Panthers a couple summers ago. And now he played at Franco Cité last year, and now he's on this Rathman roster hoping to get some looks from the university level to see if he can continue his football career after the NACAFA level.
Yeah, for sure. It's great to see, especially in the city, all the options that these players have to play in the next level without leaving home. They've got 2 great university teams that they can play for.
Speaking of which, I think I saw defensive coach for the Ottawa GGs here up in the booth. Oh, and a nice completion over the middle by number 5, which gives them a 1st and goal from the 1. And that's number 5, Evan Scataccini, who we saw playing running back, but now he gets over the middle there. And
a lot of confusion going on right now.
that's Scataccino. So they go into hurry-up mode here and try to get the defense unsettled. But the first situation in the game for a major here, and it's by the Orleans Rassman, and this sets the stage for a heck of a game ahead of us here.
100%, yeah. We saw in the championship game as well in Ottawa here with the the West Ottawa team. Very, very close game. Came down to the plays in the last minutes of the game. And it was great to see the knuckle football, gridiron football down there. Timeout called here.
Timeout on field. Let's go back to see the replay here of that completion that got them in. We'll just go quickly before we get back to live action here. You can see off of the right side of your screen, I think a kind of a post pattern run, and just kind of ball put out in front of them enough for the completion.
It's a beautiful hole they found there in that zone coverage, and it worked out great for them as we come back to live action.
So back here, 1st and goal from the 1. Colin Doherty under center here for the Rassman. Whistle in, and he plunges forward.
Looks like it's going to be in.
No call yet.
No call from the officials.
And it's a touchdown. So the first major is scored by Orleans, and a shocker, I'm sure, for the West Ottawa Knights, who they're not accustomed to being in this situation at all.
I will tell you, though, you say they're not accustomed to this, but last week we saw a very similar situation where these 4 points that they have on the board saved them in the last quarter of the game. So this is going to be setting up to be a great football game here this evening.
Absolutely, it is. This is what we've all been waiting for. A lot of work's been done at the midget level in Ottawa and Montreal, and now being able to get a situation where we can pit the best on the best at the end of the year. That's what it's all about. And the extra point is good for the Rathsmen, so that makes it 7-4 here in the second quarter.
So this is a great step for these two, for the NCAFA and the Montreal League here. I remember the good old days when we used to have the NCAFA championships, and then after that we had the All-Star games, which were always a lot of fun. And it's great to see now that we can have these All-Star games between two leagues in this interprovincial bowl.
That's right, and I think the decision was easy to make on the All-Star game. Yeah, you spent a ton of money on these uniforms for teams, and it would be really miserable weather, and teams had 1 week to practice in the cold. They were usually done with the year anyways, and you put this new team together, and they'd have a week, and it just wasn't really all inspiring. So instead, what we decided to do, and that NCAFA that is to say, let's let the championship teams go 1 more week, and let's see what the caliber is between Montreal and Ottawa, and that's what we have here.
And as we're seeing in here, it is relatively close. The game is still extremely close.
I think all the games from Mosquito all the way up to midget here were pretty close. So some great football, and this time number 24 spins around and returns the kickoff. And that's Denny Ferdinand on the return man here for the Knights tonight.
Tell you what, it is good to see some actual good football being played on this field. Not to say anything about any other teams here in Ottawa, but I'm really excited to see this game so far, and I'm excited for the next half whenever we get there.
No, and it's interesting. It's really the only football left in the city right now. I mean, as you know, the Red Blacks didn't have a great season. Carleton and Ottawa U making it to the quarterfinals. And there, McCardle catches the ball and is spun around. And I tell you, if you're number 3, make sure he gets down. He almost spun him forward.
Almost spun him forward, gave him that boost, but tripped up over his own feet there. Definitely the play that this...
That's Aaron McCardle on the reception there. So
this West Ottawa team here definitely wanted to get more points up on this board before the end.
Kasim hands off to Coleman, who's got a seam. And he's still going, but he's finally wrapped up. Now that ball came out late. I think he was well down.
They're still going for it. Sounds like they can hear the whistles down on the field.
But this is what you love to see is a close battle between two of the best teams. Well, the best two teams. The Rathsmen won the QMFL First Division Championship last weekend against the North Shore Mustangs, who actually won the midget interprovincial bowl the first time we did it in 2017. And now we've got Orleans and West Ottawa going at it in midget football in Ottawa. It's back alive and well. Roca wrapped up, gang tackled by number 7, number 95, and number 9, respectively.
It's a Canada team trying to at least get in range of a field goal here to tie this game up before half.
That's Austin Lachine playing linebacker for the Rathsmen, getting involved early, and they go to Coleman again. And number 21 forces Coleman out of bounds.
Just short of that first down, but getting closer to...
That's Brendan Shaw. So, Devin, I think early on you've got to see that they've run this jet sweep with Coleman about 10 times already in the first half. They're going to need to defend that, even if they put a spy and a spotter right on number 11 the whole way through. This time, Roca up the middle, and he's still going. Shaw finally pushes him down, but not before he gets to the 4-yard line.
This has been a great last few minutes of football here. Canada showing now that they are fed up with being walked over and are coming out here hopefully going for the major, but they are now 100% in field goal distance if they can't make it in here to tie
So here's
up
the
game.
snap, And Kasim Ferdinand isn't going to go anywhere. He's dragged down. It looked like a little bit of a broken play, but they're going to mark him down. Maybe lost about 5 or 6 on that play, and that'll set up a second and
Looks like about 10, a little bit more than 10. I'd say 13.
2nd and 13. Now, I'm going to call it Aaron McCardle is at the 3rd receiver on the strong side. They like to run him on a corner route here. This time they go to the other side, and it's picked off in the end zone by number 13 of the Rasmus, and he cuts back inside. He's still there, but he fumbled, and Canada got the ball back.
Oh, my
So
gosh.
what are the refs going to call here? They're going to give it back.
They're giving it back.
And will that be a first down?
I don't know how to call that. Looks like, yeah, it's going to be a first down. That is
Now, if that's not the craziest play you've seen.
one of the craziest. And
As they sort it out, let's go back to the replay of that one. So they decide to throw it. They run a corner, and it's picked off. Oh, we lost our field mic there, I think, but number 13 right here. He could have gone out of bounds, and he's just a little careless with the ball, and it's jumped on by the Knights. I think it was an offensive lineman that got back on the ball.
beautiful play there
And
by the
bails
offensive
his-
lineman.
Bails his team out there.
Feel a little bit of pride being the big beefy boys where I used to play,
Well-
making themselves known in this game.
As an offensive lineman, what do they tell you? Even when something like that happens, they say just chase the ball, right?
Chase the ball.
Chase the play and hustle towards the ball, and good things can happen.
You play till the whistle, and that's every coach I've ever had, starting down in Mosquito, going all the way up. Always says you got to chase that ball until the whistle is blown.
And that was Patrick Cumberbatch, one of the other Cumberbatch twins. So this is kind of the twins at skilled positions, twins on both teams here. And the Cumberbatches getting their name called lots here. Roca up the middle for only a couple of yards.
I'm sorry
But-
to hear that. You said there's twins on both teams here?
The Cumberbatches are twins. They play in DB for the Rasmus, and then you've got the Ferdinand brothers on Knights playing DB and quarterback respectively
I'll
tonight.
tell you what, I didn't know that. That is interesting to see here, the twin power, the twin intuition, I guess.
So on 2nd down, they fake the sweep there, and Kasim takes it himself up the right side and goes out of bounds. And
Good decision there, I would say. Getting them the first down, giving them 3 more downs here in the last seconds of this half.
33 seconds left in the half, and West Ottawa really looking to get on the board here with more than a field goal.
Definitely going to say we're going to see a lot of, I would personally do a lot of ground running here, try and keep that ball.
Well, here we got McCardle at the 3 receiver. He's going to block. They're going to give it to Roca, and Roca churning his feet for a couple of hard-earned yards.
There's going to be a flag on the play. Probably, my guess would be a holding call.
And this is great to see. We've got league executives from Montreal here, and we've got head coach of the Ottawa GGs, Jamie Bariza, in the executive suite here. Great to have you with us. And I'm sure there's a lot of players here that Ottawa U's interested in seeing their progression and what they're going to do next year, because as we talked all the time, here we go. We'll go back to the call. It's a nice little counter there. Kasim puts his hands up, hoping to influence the refs there with that, but they don't get in on that one. But as we talked about, recruiting in Ottawa is especially tough, having 2 university programs. So if you can influence some of those middle pack players to be kind of the role players in the team, that can really add a lot to your roster and boost your roster. I mean, you're always going to go try to get your quarterback nationally, maybe get a running back or a receiver nationally. But if you can fill a lot of those kind of medium pack players, the guys that are going to be the grinders on your team, that goes a long way for a university program, I would say.
For
So
sure.
back to
and,
action here.
Just as we get our little screen time there. Almost. Almost halftime.
20 seconds left. They go to Rocca again, and he looks like he's going to score. He reaches over.
Calling it the touchdown there.
Confirmation from the referees, and you see Ethan celebrating on a hard-earned touchdown where they took the ball. Well, they recovered a fumble on an interception in the end zone, and they turned it into 6 points.
That right there, that set, I can't even say drive, that set of drives there, 3 different drives together, is the reason why I personally love coming out and watching this youth football in this Ottawa Capital. And whenever I make it to any NCAFA game, it's always great, entertaining to see.
Coleman puts the extra point up and over, and that extends the lead for the Knights heading into halftime, 11-7.
Got 15 seconds left here in this half. So lots of good stuff happening there. A great drive by the Knights. Even though it didn't quite go the way they wanted it, they made it eat up a lot of time.
Want to thank you guys for joining us. We've got a couple hundred people watching live right now from across the country. As far as Houston, Texas, I saw. And also, we've got somebody in Newfoundland. So thank you for joining us, helping us promote the game of football. Midget football is alive and well in Ottawa and Montreal, and want to thank CKDJ. And we're going to have a few commercials at halftime, so stick with us, and we'll be back with the second half after the conclusion of the first. Number 25 of the Rassman, just being safe with the ball.
Got 7 seconds left here. So two plays, I'd say almost maximum. They could possibly get the 3, but I doubt it.
So Ethan Wilson returning the ball there.
Because they've got to go for a long ball here if they want to get some points on the board before the half. Some more points on the board before this half. Well, it looks like they're just going to get the 1 play here. Time is out.
So that's it. That's the first half. We've got a game here in Ottawa. 11-7 with the home West Ottawa Knights on top. But both teams are going to make their adjustments here at half and see what they can do to influence the decision of this interprovincial championship game.
I am excited to see the outcome of this one, I'll tell you that. So the team's coming off now, going to their dressing rooms here.
So we're going to step aside at halftime briefly, and we'll start off with an Ottawa U commercial here, seeing as how we've got Breezy in the house.
First love, you're my first love. 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 You're my first
You think it's an accident? You think it's luck? You think it matters where you play? How good your teammates are? There's no showcase event needed here. Keep it simple. Stay focused. Message us on Facebook to join Team U.
This broadcast is brought to you in part by House Edge Media. House Edge Media is a creative marketing agency based in Ottawa that helps businesses innovate and automate their digital marketing activities. Visit them at houseedgemedia.com. This broadcast is brought to you in part by House Edge Media. House Edge Media is a creative marketing agency based in Ottawa that helps businesses innovate and automate their digital marketing activities. Visit them at houseedgemedia.com.
Right tackle, and he's into the end zone for the
North
Shore
Shore
Mustangs. Win the inaugural Midget Championship at the 2017 Interprovincial Bowl Series.
Banath sets up, throws, and it's picked off by Traore at the 20. One man to beat. Traore still on his feet. He'll score!
Win the Bantam Championship in the Interprovincial Bowl Series.
Mustangs. White turns out to his left, throws that one, and that's picked off.
And James Donnelly with the pick.
Dropping back to pass as a man deep in the end zone, and he got it. It's a touchdown!
That is
And puts it right in the hands of Jaheim Newton. Newton still on his feet at the 10. Newton will score!
Rocky Balboa, the Italian style.
Now low snap, and it's fumbled and picked up by the Raiders. And it looks like they're going to take this one all the way back to the 20 and now to the 10, and it is a touchdown for the Myers Riders. Dishes it off to Moak once again. Will try to get his way down the outside, breaks a tackle, gets to the goal line, and he scores. It's a touchdown!
That is
You know what's going on. It's seemingly.
You think it's an accident? You think it's luck? You think it matters where you play? How good your teammates are? There's no showcase event needed here. Keep it simple. Stay focused. Message us on Facebook to join Team U.
This broadcast is brought to you in part by House Edge Media. House Edge Media is a creative marketing agency based in Ottawa that helps businesses innovate and automate their digital marketing activities. Visit them at houseedgemedia.com. Hey football fans, Mike Sutherland here, voice of your Ottawa Redblacks and a huge supporter of minor football in our area. My friends at HESN are doing some great work for our local minor sports leagues, and I encourage you to become a subscriber, supporter, and viewer. Now, back to the game.
Titan Performance Center. Register for their off-season football program before November 4th and receive a free Titan hoodie. Limited roster. This year, NACAFA is celebrating 3 individuals who have made an enduring impact on the development of football in Ottawa and the lives of thousands of youth. NACAFA wishes to congratulate longtime Nepean Eagles and formerly Redskins president and NACAFA president Stephen Dean on being inducted into the NACAFA Hall of Fame. Join us on November 1st when your Ottawa Redblacks play the Montreal Alouettes, and help us congratulate Steve Dean on his induction into the NACAFA Hall of Fame. Steve became involved in football as a result of his kids wanting to play sports. Initially, it was his son wanting to play tackle football. Later on, his daughter joined the girls' touch football program.
Well, like most people, I think, we had a son or a daughter that was interested in playing. My son was 9 years old, played for a club in Barrhaven, and came out and said, Dad, I want to play football. And I joined a bunch of other fathers with kids of the same age, and that started the whole event of me being involved with football as long as I have.
Steve's love for the game certainly influenced his kids, and that dynamic has kept him involved these many years.
NACAFA is an all-volunteer organization that offers organized tackle, touch, flag, and cheer programs in our community, whereas the objectives of this organization include the promotion of health, fitness, respect, and fair play to the youth in our city, whereas the association is celebrating its 60th anniversary in 2015.
Steve cherishes so many memorable moments looking back on his time with football and NACAFA. He loved coaching, working as a club president and NACAFA league president.
And we are back here in the TD Executive Suite. I'm joined by Midget Director Lynn Vio. And we're going to have Lynn on just to kind of build a little bit of context to the Midget League. Lynn, you've been with the Midget League and been a big supporter of it for almost a decade or more, right?
About that, yes. I've been involved in midget since 2007 with a few teams, and then as well as the on the board level. So I love this level. It's great football.
Tell me what you love about the midget and that you were so passionate about seeing this level not die, and some of the changes, the age groups that have helped a lot. Obviously, the partnership with the QMFL has been huge. What is it about this level that you think is so important to keep and preserve here in Ottawa?
What's important is it's an age group where 16, 17, and here in Ottawa, 18 years old, where these kids are making life decisions, whether what kind of careers they want to be, what kind of jobs, what they do. They have there's a lot of pressure from their families, from friends, the social aspect. And football allows them to build leadership, to build competencies and character and skills that they learn on the team. They learn how to count on each other and learn that team and collaboration together that they carry on into great jobs and great careers later on. And it's an age that's important because we want to keep them together. We want to keep them focused and not just be hang around doing nothing.
Right.
So so this brings them together and keeps them going. So I think it's really important.
Yeah, absolutely. Well said. We'll take it back to field level there. But I think you're right. I mean, all those things that football's great for. We would hate to see that. I think we would hate to see football get into this ultra elite level at the 16, 17, 18-year-olds, where instead of 300 players at that age playing in Ottawa, we have maybe 60.
That's right.
So it's good that this league is there and able to provide football at this level for about 300 kids, and more in Montreal as well, right?
That's right. These kids, they really, they love the game. They're passionate about the game, and you see a great game so far. With the score of 11-7.
This is great.
It's great football, and they're still out there fighting. It's been a long season for both teams. They've had some tough games, tough challenges, and but they're out there.
And I think that's an important point. Like if you think about a lot of these teams start back in June playing.
That's right.
So we're at November 9th now or 10th, and it can be a long season. But when you get to play in TD Stadium. And you've got it broadcast to hundreds of people, and it'll be thousands after when they get home over the next few days. Really, this is the biggest stage that these players have ever played on, and it's great to be able to offer this to the sport.
That's right. It's this venue is amazing, and you hear the sound. I was down at field level earlier, and you hear the fans. It's loud. Somebody said, "Oh my goodness, this feels like." The stadium's full. It's just so loud and people cheering them on.
Well, here's the kickoff to the second half, and the Rathsmen will receive. That's down to number 25 to return it for the Rathsmen. He gets up close to the 40-yard line before he's tackled by a couple Knights defenders.
So you're really seeing, on these tackles throughout the game, what I've noticed is that everybody's in on it. The whole defense, it's not just one guy making the play, it's the whole team that's making that play.
And certainly when you get into November football, it takes a whole defense to bring some of these guys down. And as you said, even it being a long season, there's a lot of bragging rights on the line between two ends of the city playing in midget football championship, not only a championship, but an interprovincial championship. So it's a halfback pass. He's looking for an open receiver, and that's, I think, Spadaccini that completes the pass up to number 5 for the Rathsmen.
We do have a flag on the field here that was thrown early on. I'm not sure if one of the teams was offside.
So
I kind of missed that one, but if not, that's definitely going to be a first down. And actually, that's going back against the Rathsmen. So this is going to take it back 5 yards.
So that was Spadaccini to Scadaccino. So a couple of good names to call, and I need my reading glasses to look at these rosters here. But Steve just threw me a pair of reading glasses. Didn't help him, he says. But no, here we go. So that did push the Rathsmen back a bit, but it'll still be first down, about 15 yards. And they hurry up to the line of scrimmage. They're going to be out of the shotgun, and that's Colin Doherty in as quarterback. And he hands off, and they run it right off the right side of the tackle there, and I don't think they get more than a yard. But, Lynn, as you've seen this Knights team go undefeated for 2 years in a row, win the championship. They lost to Sun Youth in the Interprovincial Bowl last year, but, do you think that this is a little bit unfamiliar, being in a game like this on the big stage for them?
I think that after having gone a couple of seasons now undefeated.
Oh, it's a huge pick right over the middle by free safety number 3 of the West Ottawa Knights. I believe that's Carcati. Sorry to interrupt you, but a huge play. Eric Carcati with the interception, and a flag for maybe showboating a little bit after that interception. But you were saying that you don't think that they're out of place here at this point?
Oh, definitely not. I think they have the experience having gone undefeated. The pressure of being undefeated is huge no matter what sport. You have that attitude. You just don't want to lose that one game. But I think having won 2 championships in Ottawa, last year they've lost the Interprovincial Bowl, and now they're they're leading this game. So no, I think they're ready for this game.
And a huge interception there. So back to live action. The Knights with the ball again, and Kasim Ferdinand reverses field, and he's got a little bit of a seam there on the left side, and maybe dragged out of bounds a little late there, but a little tap by Shaw on his shoulder. Now, here's a question for you as the longtime NCAFA midget director. Do you have a favorite in this game? Like, do you want the NCAFA representative to win?
I would like to see it, of course, NCAFA as being their representative, but to me, at midget, I've always liked a good game of football, and I like a close game.
So Roca puts the ball on the mat. Will they rule it down? No, they're going to rule fumble turnover for the Rasmen. So after the interception by Karkati, the Rasmen fumble, and the Knights give the ball back. So
how many I've seen right now, I've missed some bits and pieces of this game, but I've seen at least four turnovers in this game. So as you can see, they're both teams. Their defense is just fighting hard for this game.
Well, of course, there was that wild play where the Rasmen intercepted the Knights in the end zone and then fumbled the ball on the same play and gave it back to the Knights with first down. But yeah, turnovers. I mean, when the football gets slick and cold, it's always a lot harder to hold on to that. And that's typical of playoff football anywhere in the world. Is turnovers, right? Are going to be key. So the Rasmen get the ball back here, and that was after a huge interception. So they kind of dodge a bullet. They're going to want to take advantage of that turnover and do something with it here on offense. And Doherty finds a receiver on a nice play across the underneath route to number 1 there. That's a dude.
So as you were saying, you were asking me if I had a preference.
Right.
At the midget level, year after year, I just like seeing close games. I don't like seeing the blowouts. Typically, I like the underdog. It's always nice cheering for them.
So a pass by Doherty over to number 5, who gets close to the first down marker there. That's Evan Scatticino, who we've called his name quite a bit today, and a great East End player that we've watched come up through the ranks in NCAFA with the Cumberland Panthers, and now on this Rasmen organization, on this roster in midget. And a big run. That's Scatticino, who finds a huge seam in the middle of the Knights defense there and gets another first down. So we are in for a ball game here, Lynn.
Oh, most definitely. And this is what I like. I don't think there's a true underdog. I mean, these guys faced each other. These two teams faced each other early on the season where the Knights won that game. But other than 2 quick touchdowns early in that first game, it was a very, very close game.
That's right. The Rasmen really came back in the second half and made a game of it. And you're right. I think this is a really evenly matched football game. No one really has the favorite. I think if you're going to edge one over a little bit, maybe the Knights, just because they're coming off 2 undefeated seasons and championships.
That's right.
But at the same time, they've never won an interprovincial bowl. So
exactly,
there's some pressure on them to see if they can get the job done. And Doherty is going to pass over the middle, and it's intercepted by who? Number 3 again. Karkati with an interception. He's playing center field for the Knights there. And he is dragged down, so another turnover.
I think this game's going to be back and forth throughout the entire game. It's amazing to watch. I think anybody watching this game right now, whether you're here in the stadium or watching this at home and streaming it, it's back and forth. You don't want to step away. If you step away for just a few seconds, you might miss something. So this is exactly what I want to see for midget football.
And here we go. So another turnover. Both offenses struggling to keep possession and move the ball down the field and maintain possession. So we'll see what the Knights do here. Kasim hands it off to Roca, who finds another little seam in the middle. And he's just a great running back for finding daylight. If you see the way that he's able to read how the play breaks and weave in and out, very impressed with Ethan Roca. And this is a kid that's a true rookie at the midget level.
He is. He's there's many rookies on this team for sure, and they've really stepped up in this game, in this season.
So they go to Roca off the left side this time. And he's going to be an important part of this team and this championship if they win this, because controlling the clock and being able to sustain drives is going to be a lot on number 37, the running back, and making sure that they don't abandon the run game too early in this game.
That's right. As we see, I'm not sure if you touched on this earlier, but the changes that Canada had to adjust to by having Kasim at quarterback.
Yeah, and there you see him. Speaking of the devil, Ferdinand getting very close to a first down there. Couldn't really see where he needed to get, but you're right. Like when you find out that your starting quarterback is ineligible for the game, it kind of shrinks your playbook, and you have to figure out new creative ways to score points.
That's right. But Canada has so many good players that they can move around and put in these different positions, and we see it today. Tonight they're stepping up to get their team going.
On third down, they do a quick toss to Roca, who maybe gets back to the line of scrimmage. There's a late flag coming back from the head referee there, wearing the white toque. So not sure if that was an unsportsman call or an unnecessary roughness.
Yeah, it looks like they're discussing that. And as you can see, you mentioned toques. The officials went out and got some toques just before the game. It's to show you how chilly it is, and the wind's just blowing right through the stadium here.
Yeah, it can turn into quite a wind tunnel at times.
It can, yeah. So
remember the old Frank Clair was a lot like that.
Yeah, well now with the scoreboard, the apartment, the condos, it's blocking it off, but at one end, but it's still got that wind tunnel coming through.
For sure. So here's the call. You'd probably be better at knowing what they're doing there with their arms.
Right now, there just seems to. Oh, it's kicking. I just saw kicking motion from.
And a referee on the Raspin not happy.
I'm not quite sure what this call is, because there's. I don't know if the official's just frozen and not moving right now, but it's going back. Looks like we're going back at least.
Or going forward,
going
rather.
Forward, sorry.
Yeah. Knights with the ball.
That's right. So that went up 15 yards.
Well, here we go. We've got a fresh set of downs for the Knights. Kasim back to pass. He's looking deep for Coleman. And defended well by number 6 in the secondary for the Raspin. That's David Ernest, who provided the coverage on Coleman. You know, they're going to like to go to Coleman often. They've run him on the jet sweep about 15 times already. And then what they do is they fake that, and then Kasim runs up the middle and keeps the ball in a quarterback draw. So,
which is rare. I mean, I'm sure Orleans prepared for a passing game, and that's not what they're getting today from Canada.
A little bit of misdirection, and just as we said, Ferdinand keeps it himself. And that's that Wildcat offense that they're able to do when Kasim Ferdinand's playing quarterback.
That's right.
Very hard to defend.
It is. You never know. I mean, especially that he can throw so many different options that Canada is able to run with. So it's really tough for a coach to be preparing against one type of offense, and you show up at the game and everything's changed around.
So on third down, the Knights dial up. They fake the jet sweep, and they go to the corner route to, I think they're going to say no catch, but it was close. The intended receiver, not sure, number 4, I think.
That's what it, yes, that's number 4. That was
that's Devon Blackwood. Devon Blackwood, who was the intended receiver there, and it was close. He kind of dove forward for it, and I think it just hit the turf enough right in front of the referee back there. So no catch, and that will bring up a field goal situation for the Knights. And
that hasn't really worked out for them this game.
They've missed 2 so far.
Unfortunately, they're usually pretty consistent on the.
That's right.
On their field goal, so hopefully see what happens here.
So Coleman,
just as I said,
hits the post. It's a little premature on the field goal graphic. My apologies, but that one hits the crossbar. or the upright.
And there was a flag thrown on that.
You see Blackwood making a case to the referee on something there. And there's the call. It's on West Ottawa. And there's another offsetting call for the Rathsmen. So is that a first down?
That is a first down.
Ooh, so that's not what you would want as a Rathsman. That could be critical. 3:41 left in the third quarter, and they get a first and goal out of that.
Looks like that ball's on the 2nd-yard line. So.
And I mean, when that happens in a 11-7 ball game, I mean, that can be a backbreaker. We saw in the Bantam game, penalties really was what crippled the Myers Riders in that game. And here we go, 1st and 10. Kasim Ferdinand hands it off to Roca. Roca tries to just bury his way into the end zone, but no signal. He doesn't get there. He gets a couple maybe.
You can really see the Orleans defensive line is really putting a stop to those short yardage. Whenever Canada is trying to go up the middle, they're really stuffing those holes.
Will they go back to Roca on here or do something different? It's a handoff. They hand it off to Ethan, and Ethan, again, is stuffed. And as you said, Lynn, the defensive line standing up strong here to try to preserve this tight game, and really only a 4-point lead that they have, the Knights have on the Rathsmen.
Yeah, now we're looking at, is that third down here? We're just, I'm a bit short here from where we're looking at.
Yeah,
you can't see the whole field,
it is.
unfortunately. But we are looking at third down, so.
New quarterback. Oh, no, sorry. Kasim Ferdinand under center, though, this time. They bring in a fullback to lead for Ethan Roca, and this time he might have lost the ball there, though. What's the call?
There's no signal, and there's a flag on the far side.
So another flag. So can the West Ottawa team putting their hands up, trying to influence them with some dramatics?
I don't think these officials aren't influenced. They've seen it all for now. We have a very senior crew if you're looking at the game today. So they know what they're doing out there. They're having those discussions to make sure the right call is made.
So they meet, they discuss. Did the ball come out prior to breaking the plane of the end zone? I think this will probably result in a touchdown, I'm going to go with.
I think it may have been broken the plane. Unfortunately, we don't have those review. But I think I think we're going to get the call soon of what the flag was. Yeah, the head official is speaking with the Orleans head coach.
Well, let's go to the replay, Lynn, and see if we can see
Okay.
anything here. Here you see oh, I think that might have been the play before, to be perfectly honest. We'll see if we can. I think this is the one here.
So it looks like Canada was offside. The ball's just been moved back. Oh, illegal procedure on the Knights. So that ball's gone back 5 yards now.
Okay.
So I think that that offside or that procedure just negated whatever happened with the ball.
So back here with live action, and they go to Coleman on the jet sweep, and he's going to walk in, but there's another flag. We'll wait to see what that is.
Looks like it's going to be a holding call on the Knights.
So seems to be kind of the story is the Knights have had trouble to get to the end zone tonight with their offense. In spite of being in striking position, they've had to settle for 3 field goals. They've gotten one out of 4
Yes.
field goals. Now they were lucky they got a first down on a penalty to give them position here.
right.
But so far it's been hard for them to break the end zone.
It has been. The tougher you get to the closer you get to the end zone, the tougher it is.
This time they run a screen to Roca, and Roca gets down close to where they originally were at about the 6 or 7 yard line. But very impressed with the Rathsmen defense in this game. I think they really took the task on this week of getting in the film and seeing how they can at least mitigate this high-powered Knights offense in this game.
That's right. You see these midget teams, that's another thing that they do a lot. They spend a lot of time going through film. The coaches do, the players do. They set up nights for the players to sit together, and they study and analyze the film.
So time for another Coleman field goal attempt. This time, he missed it. Wide right. And McCardle finally shoulders Cumberbatch out of bounds, but the fourth field goal miss for Nathan Coleman, which isn't very typical of this young man.
That was a great return by the returner. Took it back about 45 yards because he took that ball just about a couple of inches from the back of the end zone and ran that back to the 25.
So, Lynn, that's 12 points that have escaped the Knights just on field goals alone.
That's a big difference, especially in these games.
So we'll see what Colin Doherty has on first down for the Rassmen. It's a little behind his intended receiver, number 5. That's Evan Scatticino, the intended receiver, but just a little bit too tough of a catch to make.
And he was wide open. He made that catch. I'm for sure he was getting a first down in that one.
I only played half a season of quarterback, so I say I don't really know what I'm talking about, but I think those passes where you have to lead the receiver a lot are tough.
They are.
This time Doherty hits a dude out in the flats on the wide side of the field, and Johnny Adude makes a few moves to get about 5 more yards after the catch and move the chains for the Orleans Rassmen.
That's right. As you're talking about those passes, you got to lead your receiver. You don't want the pass to be behind them because that's going to slow down the momentum of the receiver. So if they're in front of them, they catch that in stride. They gain a lot of yards just with those catches.
That's right. And sometimes those passes behind them, they'll try to get it and they'll deflect it into the defender's arms. So
that's right.
This time they go to the ground, which they haven't done a whole lot of this game, the Rassmen that is. And they maybe get back to the line of scrimmage, but that's it.
That's one of the things I've noticed about Canada. They're really strong. They're really good at pushing that run to the outside and forcing the runner to run towards the outside, and then they all swarm in.
That's Thomas Lordy on the carry there, and that sets up a second and manageable 8 for the Rassmen. But this will be the last play of the third quarter, and it's a handoff. I believe that's Lordy again up the middle, and he's met by number 30 on the Knights defense saying, "Where you going, son?"
So only a 4-point game going into the fourth quarter. This is I don't think I could have asked for any better for this midget interprovincial bowl. So far, really happy with how things are going, and
great way to finish off the 2019 season. So we want to thank Lynn Vow for coming on the broadcast. I think you got a natural knack for this type of broadcast work, so it won't be the last time. But Lynn's got to get down close to field level because she will be presenting the championship awards here once we find out who the winner of this game will be. And Devin will jump back on when he gets a chance. So thank you, Lynn, for joining us. Oh, nearly got there on a huge pass.
So I just want to say thank you for having me on. I really enjoy this, and it's really, I watch the games and I comment, so now I'm able to share with anyone watching. So thank you, Jesse and HESN, for having me on, and hopefully next year we do a lot more of these.
Pleasure is always ours. Thank you, Lynn. We'll let you get off to your responsibilities here as the midget director of NCAFA, and just a phenomenal job keeping midget and fighting for midget to be what it is here, and really being patient for the resurrection of this midget level in Ottawa. Right now the punt goes to the Knights and they get back. Let's go take a look at the replay, Devin, of that long pass and see if that was really as close as we thought. As you see, Doherty playing quarterback here, took over for Nick Rico in the first quarter. They kind of played both and then decided to let Doherty go the full time here. But he did have an open receiver, and Cumberbatch just dropped it. So back to live action here. Now, we talked about 12 points on missed field goals being something maybe that we can look back at the conclusion of this game and say, was that part of the factor of the Knights losing this game? But it was a touchdown that was dropped right there.
Yeah, 100%. There's lots of points that have been left on this field so far tonight, which all coaches hate to see, and players hate to see these points being left on the field. Unfinished drives. The ultimate goal is you want all your drives to end in points. Unfortunately, it can't happen all the time. But,
doesn't always work that way.
But this one, they've definitely missed a few great scoring opportunities to give them a better leg up in this game.
Now, you mentioned you love defensive battles,
I do.
games. Me too. And I was a defensive player mostly my career, so I love the fact that how when you have a tight game, it puts kind of a microscope on every single play, on both the offense and the defense. But every defensive turnover or any kind of miscue on offense becomes like a big deal, right?
Yep.
So right here we have, speaking of a big deal, we've got, I think it's first down here for the Knights, and Roca runs hard off the right side of the tackle for the West Ottawa Knights and puts his shoulder down. I think that's Justice Karate on the tackle there, and wearing number 27 for the Rassmen. But Roca, even for a 16-year-old, he's quite a load in the backfield. I mean, this is a thick, physical, and fast runner, and he's tough to tackle.
Looks like he's actually there's going to be an injury on the field for the Rassmen right now.
Looks like maybe a calf cramp.
Yeah, he's
maybe not hydrated.
Massaging the calf a little bit. The cold temperatures definitely can be an aspect of those cramps as well. We saw it definitely in the Ottawa Championships. Lots of players going out with cramps, especially in the last quarter. This last quarter is really where both these teams have to dig in and play their game.
So we're going to step aside while they check in on the Orleans Rassmen player here, and we'll be back with the fourth quarter of the Midget Interprovincial Bowl.
You think it's an accident? You think it's luck? You think it matters where you play? How good your teammates are? There's no showcase event needed here. Keep it simple. Stay focused. Message us on Facebook to join Team U.
And we're back after the injured Rassmen player makes it back to the sideline. And Kasim Ferdinand with the ball, looking for some space, decides to finally go up the right side, and he got a huge gain. He's still going, and he's just knocked out around the 5-yard line. They're going to mark him out at the 6. So Kasim Ferdinand making something out of nothing on that play.
Beautiful play there. It looks like they were going for a pass, and then it was broken, so he just took it up the field and made great leeway on that play, getting them a first down within striking distance in the red zone.
And Devin, it's just so hard to defend athleticism.
100%.
This time they go to Roca. He goes up the middle, and I think he's in for the touchdown. Confirmation is given. So the Knights.
That is the joy of hurry-up offense right there. They get down, they get ready. They got the jump on the Rassmen's defense and punched it right in there for the extra 6 points, giving them a 10-point lead in this game as of right now, which is definitely gives them that little bit of a buffer to play with.
Absolutely. I mean, 10 points, going to be perhaps 11 here. With only 9 minutes left, the Rassmen will have to utilize their offensive possessions if they're going to.
We have definitely seen, we just pointed out it's a left-footed kicker, which is different to see.
And that's up and over, so
into
the West Ottawa Knights drive the ball thanks to Kasim Ferdinand on that broken passing play. He takes it up, makes something out of nothing, sets up Ethan Roca from the 6-yard line, and they plunge it in to put the Knights up top late in the game here.
It's great to see. This field has been blessed with all of these awesome plays that happen on this field. I don't know if you look back a few years to when the Ottawa Redblacks won their very first championships. They won, or for their very first Grey Cup, they caught a pass over by the 30-yard line thrown by their ex-quarterback, Henry Burris. It was bobbled up in the backfield off a bad snap and was thrown away, caught by the number 82 around the 40-yard line and ran in from there.
That's the Bank Street Miracle.
The Bank Street Miracle. And it's actually, as we're talking about that, we go back to coincidences. The last time that the Rough Riders were here in Ottawa and they won the Grey Cup, they actually were sent to the Grey Cup by the exact same play but flipped on the other side of the field.
Is that right?
Which is, it's really cool to see just the miracle plays that can happen on this field.
Well, and the thing I love about sports, and I'm sure you're the same, is the history and the tradition of games that have been played, and the rivalries and the storylines that you can kind of create in these games. And
100%.
NCAFA is no different. I mean, right now we're looking at a franchise new at midget, second year in. They entered the second division of the QMFL and went 9-1, and then they decided after a great first second division first year, they decided to go enter the first division. Oh, and the Knights get the ball back on the onside kick, caught in midair by number 24.
Lots of laundry being thrown on the field there after
Denny
the catch.
Ferdinand.
That looks like we're going to have some sort of unsportsmanlike on the corner there. 3 referees throwing their flags with some force.
Unbelievable play, though.
It was actually 3 officials at the exact same time throwing their flags.
Let's have a look at that play, Davin.
See what could have happened. It looks like it was off to the side.
So just a perfectly placed onside kick. And it looks like the Rassman didn't even go up to challenge on that play. They just kind of let Denny get up there, climb the ladder, and get the ball.
Looks like the first line didn't expect it. And they were able to come back and beautiful play, though.
So there's the flags there, and they go simultaneously. They were thrown, so definitely something happened there.
I'm going to guess it was words exchanged between the players who were walking towards the benches, right by the officials. And I know officials have been here. It's cold. Getting later in the game, they're tired of the chippiness.
So the conclusion of the Midget 2019 Interprovincial Bowl between Orleans and West Ottawa. It's coming down to 9 minutes left in the game. Denny Ferdinand back with the ball. They give it to Roca, who scored the last touchdown, and this time he gashes the defense for another 11 or 12 and sets up another 1st and 10 for the Knights.
This Knights offense and special teams coordinator there doing a genius play there to get the ball back to limit the amount of time that this Rassman team's going to have to score. And we've seen that this offense can eat that clock up, whether it be with penalties and other things. It's just been.
And I think you're going to see them keep the ball on the ground when they're getting chunks of yardage like this every play on first down.
10 yards at a time, eating up the clock.
So you wonder, I mean, this is now or never for the Rassman to get a big play here or a big stop, because it looks like maybe they're running out of gas on their 2019 season here. And what they're going to do is the Knights are going to force them to kind of put everyone in the box and try to stop this run, which they do on that, almost do on that play. Ethan Roca sheds a tackle. And really, they're just giving the ball to Ethan at this point and saying, go win us the game, son.
Tell you what, Roca there was two Rassman on his back there that he just shut off like they were nothing, like they were dead weight, and then running straight into another one, showing that he is not afraid to get physical in this game.
This time, Roca's caught in the backfield. We'll go to the replay quickly of that last run by Roca. Oh, no, that was a previous play, but yeah, that was where he just shed the tackle. And back to live action here. The Knights looking to score. They faked the jet sweep. Coleman thought he was going to get it, but Ferdinand keeps it himself. Now he's looking to pass, and he finds Telfer in the end of the end zone.
They're going to call it out of bounds.
He calls it out of bounds, but he looked like he had his feet down, though.
Let's look at unfortunately, the referees don't have access to our replays.
It looked like he had both feet down, and he worked hard to do it.
It is hard to see up here in this booth.
We'll see if we got a quick look at the replay here. before we get back to live action. But you see Ferdinand kind of running out of options. So he does find his receiver in the end zone uncovered. So he throws it. And
receiver's up.
Oh, yeah, it was a good call. He was just outside. And good job by the referees to
It's a great officials
make
call
that
there.
call. So the score 18-7, and the Knights on the doorstep with 4th down, though. So, I mean, this, I hate to say it, I hate to say this is a ball game, but this is the ball game.
This could very well be the ball game right here. We have seen other things happen, points being scored like that in games, one after another. But
so as a defense, based on what we've seen this year and tonight, what do you do if you have to take a chance as a defense to make a play here? Are you going to load the box and try to prevent Ethan Roca from smashing through the 1 or 2 hole, or do you protect the perimeter? Do you bring everyone up? Do you blitz? Do you blitz the corners even maybe to try to prevent that jet sweep that they give to Coleman so much?
It's really hard to see with this offense because we saw just in that play the run was broken up, so they went for a pass. They've always got options open, which is a great coaching style by that offensive coordinator for the Knights. It's a great offense to see, even though the playbook has shrunk because they don't have their starting quarterback out there tonight, unfortunately due to injuries.
So John Shaw is the offensive coordinator for the West Ottawa Knights, and he's got the call here, and it looks like they're going to go try to get 3. So not the decision that I thought they would, but they're going to try to go for the field goal here. Coleman's missed 4 tonight. So we will see if this is something. Usually Mr. Automatic tonight struggled, but this time, no problem. That is good for 3. And the Knights extend their lead further.
Not the extension they need, but still great. It makes this, it forces the Rassman to go for, to play it risky here. They've got to take the risk, go for the 2 when they get down, and if they punch it into the end zone.
So, Devin, like really it's a 2-touchdown score here. So 6:55 left in the game. The Rassmen will have to move pretty quickly. They'll have to get the ball back twice, and they'll have to score on pretty much every possession they have here, and the defense is going to have to stop the Knights. So we'll see if Lady Luck and the football gods are shining on Orleans tonight.
Yeah, it's been quite the battle so far, but Canada looking like they're coming out in the end here. But I wouldn't say anything too soon because we saw this again last week, and that game came down to the final play of the game.
And we got the president of the Orleans Bengals up in the TD executive suite chatting with head coach Jamie Breeze of the University of Ottawa GGs, and some great football here that everyone is taking in on the November 10th weekend here, one day before Remembrance Day, and we've got a 21-7 game with 6:41 left with the Rassmen with the ball. And what the Rassmen have been able to do in only 2 years of being an organization at the midget level is unbelievable. They, like I mentioned, went 9-1 their first year in the second division. They moved up to the first division, and a lot of people didn't think they'd be able to compete there. And they go 8-2, and one of the losses to the Knights. So here they are in a battle, down by 14 points, 1st and 10, and Colin Doherty in the shotgun. 3 receivers to the weak side. He's going to fake it, and he's going to get the ball stuffed, but it's going to be an incomplete pass. That's I believe number 10 that got his arms up.
Beautiful cover. Looks like he came in off of a blitz there.
Number 44, my apologies. Jackson Kieron, who does what his coaches tell him. You can't get to the quarterback. What do you do? You put your arms up and you disrupt the pass, and he does that, and he sets up a 2nd down for the Rassmen. 3 receivers to the strong side. They run the quick stop by the number 1 on the weak side receiver, and he buries his way forward for about 6 yards, and it sets up a very manageable 3rd and 3.
For sure, that's they're going to eat up this field right now. This is it's tough to say if it's the right decision now to eat up the field, but they have been having issues with the long pass there. This Canada defense has definitely got the momentum right now.
Well, you certainly don't want to be throwing it towards number 3 in the secondary. You can see Karkati moving up, showing blitz, and then dropping back to that free safety position. They do go over the middle and is nearly picked off. The ball was behind the West Ottawa Knight defender, number 17.
This right here has been a 4th down play. This is going to be a setter here.
That's Reed Roman, who, if the ball was a little bit in front of him, that probably would have been a pick.
4th down. This play here could make or break this game. They're going to be going for it. They really don't have much other choice.
So a big 4th down for the Orleans Rasmen, maybe the season for them. And, oh, it's an incomplete pass. Defended beautifully by the Knights. And that's Denny Ferdinand, who they basically told the receiver to get to the sticks and run a hook, and Denny Ferdinand's able to stay in coverage beautifully. And I think that was man-on-man coverage too. So
it's great to see their Canada bench all on their feet. Nobody's sitting down. They're all in this game right now as the offense takes the field and tries to put the nails in.
So the offense gets set up really quickly here, and Denny Ferdinand, no surprise, hands it off to Ethan Roca, who gets another easy 5. And they're going to be content with running the clock down as much as they can with the running game of Ethan Roca.
The Knights here are going to want to keep it on the ground and inbounds to keep that clock running until the final 3, I believe.
And the Knights definitely trying to finish the deal here. They made it to the Interprovincial Bowl last year. They got Coleman again, and he finds a crease. He runs into his own receiver there, but it's finally dragged down by Justice Karate of the Rasmen, and also number 3.
Trying to punch it in here.
Nicholas Denyard. But I mean, they made it to the big game last year, and they lost to the Sun Youth Hornets, and this year I know it was important for them to finish the deal and win out the provinces. Roca gashes his way. He's going to score. Oh, I think he lost the ball just before, but they're saying it's a touchdown.
They're going to call it a touchdown. Let's go to that replay to see if that was the right call.
So they're giving it to him. Can we see if they were maybe just a little bit, if Cliff was a little too early on that? So here's the replay coming up. It's the handoff, and look, it's just the Knights' offensive line manhandling the Rasmen D-line there. But right here, I think that ball was out. I think that was a premature touchdown. But nonetheless, it stands.
Kick going straight through the end zone. And this Canada team now putting the nails in.
But yeah, definitely, if you're the Rasmen, that one's going to hurt. That was right in front of referee Cliff, and I think that's one that they would want back here. Let's have another quick look at that play.
It's really hard to see here with the no zoom, but it's
very tough to say.
It's hard to say.
Very tough to say.
Because it could have been a shoulder that broke the plane, and then that's... It is also hard to see with our angles up here. Line up to kick here. Interested to see if they're going to go for another onside like they did last time. They're lining up real far back. Oh, they're adjusting now. Sending it deep. Oh, some tricky plays in the backfield, handing the ball off. So
So after that Ethan Roca touchdown, the score is 28-7, and with 3:55 left, Evan,
it
looks like
we're seeing the outcome of this game for sure.
That touchdown might have put a nail in the coffin of this Orleans Raftsmen 2019 season.
So either way this game goes, both of these teams played an excellent season. They're both here, which means they won their respective championships.
It's a long road to get to the Interprovincial Bowl, and a lot of players moving on to the next level, I believe, after this game. Colin Doherty, one of them. Oh, and Doherty just kind of goes over the middle and takes a shot. There is a flag down, but
midfield.
I think that was thrown before. The hit. So just take a quick look as they sort out that penalty on that last play. You see Colin Doherty, natural position is a wide receiver. He was at an MVP at the Nike X Old Bowl in the summer, but taking a shot there. That's what you can expect when you run the ball straight at the Knights defense. You're probably going to take a shot. We'll see what they dish out.
Sure, the 3-3's up on the board now with 3 minutes and 33 seconds left.
So for those of you out there that have been with us all day through the Mosquito, Pee Wee Bantam, and now Midget Interprovincial Championship, we want to thank you for your viewership and supporting football here in this part of the country. It's been awesome to see some of the best teams in this area going at it and seeing who the best teams really are in 2019. And the 4th edition of this will take place next November in Montreal, as the QMFL and the QBFL and the MRFL are the hosts next year for the Interprovincial Championship. And we'll have to get this event catered next time.
For sure.
That pass incomplete to number 25, the intended receiver. Last year, I will say, in Montreal, they had a lot of good food for us, and I don't think we matched that this year. But
unfortunately,
it'll have to be somebody other than the broadcast guys, because we've got enough to worry about here. But maybe somebody with an Instapot could
getting the pictures out there.
Steve, our technical producer, getting a quick shot of us through the window at TD Place. That pass is complete.
I'll tell you,
Doherty to Johnny Adoud.
It is great to be here at TD Place after all the football that goes on here, being up here in the executive booth. Just the experience of it all. These players, with the fans being so loud as they are, we had Lynn mentioned earlier that it sounds like the place is full with the amount of noise coming from the fans on this Concord.
Of course, and you can imagine what it sounds like in the Panda game when you've got about 25,000 people here. It is roaring, but right now, this is the only football being played in Ottawa, and Colin Doherty back to pass. He's going to take off with it himself again, hopefully avoid a big hit, but Ricky Davidson lays the shoulder on him. That's okay. As we said, Doherty, usually a receiver and used to taking shots like that. They decided to go with Doherty over Rico, and they really have a couple capable quarterbacks there, and depending on the team they're playing, they switch around. And
it is good to see, and we saw in this game they're switching around. They are a great team. It's just both of these teams here definitely showing that they deserve to be here today.
It's time to pass out to number 5. Evan Scatticino, as 2 minutes and 15 seconds remain on the clock of this Midget Interprovincial Championship. We wonder what both of these teams will look like next year. Of course, we mentioned Ethan Roca, really, I think, the MVP of this game.
For sure. I could agree with that 100%.
And him being a rookie. Doherty goes deep on a corner out to a dude, and he's got it, and he's in for the touchdown. So, despite the score and despite the time on the clock, the Raftsmen will not quit as they hit a huge strike over the top.
here now, still needing the 2 more touchdowns here in this game.
So no doubt the Rathsman will go for 2, but a beautiful shot deep that connects.
Actually looks like they're going to be kicking it, which is a baffling move, but they're going to go for the point. They're going for 1. And it's down through. But definitely an interesting move by the Rathsman there.
So 28-14 with 2 minutes left.
Definitely going to, you're feeling like we're going to see another onside kick here. This time Rathsman doing the onside kick.
So let's go to that replay of that huge touchdown and see. You see Doherty, 5-step drop out of the shotgun, finds
beautiful pocket.
Finds a dude just running that corner route, and then he just falls forward over the plane. Beautiful touchdown pass.
That is a textbook beautiful play there. See the Rathsman now line up to do an onside kick.
So the 50-50 winner. I think I heard it at halftime up at $900. So not too bad, not too shabby for a NCAFA 50-50. And the kickoff, you got to expect, Devin, this is going to be an onside. They got to get the ball back here.
Got to get the ball back in this final 2 minutes.
So here comes the overloaded left side, and unfortunately they kick it right to number 3, the free safety of the West Ottawa Knights, Eric Carcati, who easily gets that ball.
Yeah, it's our technical producer here saying not sure why they would kick it in the air. They do it all the time with onside kicks, but you see the ground kick's almost always easier to recover, especially the squibs that go along the ground for 10 yards and then bounce up.
Well, I mean, at the NFL or the CFL, you can bring in a specialist that knows how to do that. At this, you're lucky if you get somebody. Now, Roca is basically just cutting the defense like butter at this point in the game as he goes easily for about 20 yards on that first down carry.
But here, the Rathsman are definitely going to want to get a turnover right now if they want to have any chance of coming back to win this.
But I'm telling you, if I'm anyone at the university level, I'm looking at Ethan Roca and saying, who wouldn't love to have this tough little running back 100%. On their roster?
I mentioned earlier the Ottawa GGs are here. I was upstairs earlier, and the Carleton team is also upstairs doing some looking at these players.
Roca again on another carry. They're going to ride him right down to the 1 minute mark. But yeah, good representation all season by the 2 university programs. I think relationships amongst football in Ottawa are starting to get a little bit tighter knit, which is good to see. I think since I've been back in 2010 working around football, that's something that I think is a no-brainer that needs to be strengthened. I think between the Red Blacks and the universities and the high school and the NCAFA leagues, I mean, really, we're all people that love the sport of football, want to see it continue to grow, and we think it's good for young men to play. As Devin, you're a testament to that as well.
100%, yeah. Unfortunately, not able to play anymore, but used to love it and wouldn't change it for anything.
Well, and now you get to contribute in a new way, right?
100%.
You get to watch and broadcast, and the kids appreciate it. I'm sure this is a big deal for them, being able to have this broadcasted. And Roca this time just dragged down by 3 or 4 Rathsman defenders, and that brings us under 1 minute now. So the clock ticking on the Rathsman season, but an unbelievable 9-2 regular season. They win their playoff game against the Greenfield Park Packers, and then they play the North Shore Mustangs, which was a prominent QMFL program in Montreal, and they win the championship last weekend. And now they get to play, and they give us a great game.
Great game. That's right from the beginning. That still fresh in my mind. That last little bit at the in the first quarter there with that play you don't see anywhere else but in this kind of football.
And you've got to congratulate the coaches on the West Ottawa Knights for 2 undefeated seasons, 2 Ottawa championships, and now their first Interprovincial Bowl championship. There's nobody left to beat.
3 seconds left. One, and they're taking the knee.
And Kasim Ferdinand kneels it out, and the Knights win the Interprovincial Championship without their starting quarterback.
Without the starting quarterback, which is interesting to see. It's hard to see. You see dumping the water on the head coach there. You hate to be him right now out there in that weather.
And you've got to give credit to head coach Jimmy Fata, offensive coordinator John Shaw, defensive coordinator Adam Gilmore, and assistant coaches Dave McCready, Dave Blackwood, AJ Jackson, Mike Gilmore, Brian Hislop, and Cheyenne Elliott, trainers Sandy Brennan and Linda Ogilvie, and Pamela Chazon for their contributions of
Definitely
this
100%.
night's program.
And we want seeing all game out there with the toughness, all season, both these teams, the toughness, and just shows what a good coaching staff can really do in this level.
That's right. And, part of the thing is at this level is having coaches that the kids want to play for. And this West Ottawa staff has definitely done a good job of keeping these kids motivated. They've won a lot of football games, and they cap off their season perfectly with an interprovincial championship here tonight at TD Place. We're going to take it back down to field level for the trophy and MVP ceremony. What's your pick for MVP of the West Ottawa Knights?
Oh, definitely Rudo. Yeah.
Roca.
Roca, no doubt about it.
And then what about if we were going to think, we would take it back down to field level here. If you're going to pick one person on the Orleans Rasmus as MVP, who might you pick?
Oh, it's hard to choose just one. Their quarterbacks this game had a great game. I would definitely give it to the quarterbacks in this game. The name is escaping me right now.
Right. I'm going to go with the Cumberbatch. Eric Cumberbatch, I think, made some plays early on when the game was in reach. And if I was going to name one person, I think it would be number 25 for the Raftsmen. And just confirming that is number 24, Eric Cumberbatch is what I would say I would give the MVP nod to. He returned that field goal out of the end zone. He had an interception. So we're going to find out who the coaches believe were some of the impact players here. But the final for the Midget Interprovincial Bowl is none other than West Ottawa Knights. They win 28-14 over the Raftsmen.
Great show of football here in the nation's capital. A beautiful Sunday night. Well, cold, beautiful Sunday night, but there's no rain, no snow, so we're happy about that. I saw on our tapes last year plagued with the snow.
So the all-time, with this victory of the NACAFA representative, the all-time rivalry at all levels of the 3 years of Interprovincial Bowls is 8-3 for the Quebec leagues. So still down a little bit in a hole for Ottawa football, but certainly we picked up 2 wins out of the 4 today.
Which is
just
it's great
doing
to
my
see.
math here. Mosquito, Pee-wee, Bantam. Yeah, so 2 out of the 4.
And did the Knights win earlier on in the day too?
The Knights won at Mosquito.
So this is 2 Knights wins.
2 Knights wins today, yes.
So that's
and
huge
it's
for the franchise.
And on their 50th anniversary, nonetheless.
That is, it just shows the luck for them. Getting tingles just thinking about that.
So Jimmy Fata naming the MVP for the Rasmen, and it's going to go to number 7.
Which is I can't say that.
Nicholas DeCoste. And I think we're going to see here DeCoste down field level getting the MVP nod for the Rasmen. And I think a lot of players, unbelievable seasons, and they've advanced their football careers, no doubt, with the film accumulated this year. But here we go. Ethan Roca.
100%.
100% deserving of the MVP nod, and I think he's put himself on a lot of people's radars. And believe this, he's got 2 more years at Midget if he wants it.
2 more years, and he's already the athlete that he is now. It's unfortunate to see. We also, Connor Vanasse, rookie, winning the MVP of the Ottawa finals, which is, it's just good to see the young representation on this team just showing that they can only get better here.
Well, and the Midget League now with 3 years to build a program, and a lot of kids benefit from that 18 year in NACAFA. U Sports football has gotten so competitive and really scholarships on the line now. It's sometimes better to wait another year and just get a little bit more developed physically before you go into the U Sports level there and really put yourself to market. So the midget league, you're able to build 3-year programs, and you've got those bantams coming up every year. So
It's interesting to see. We've seen some of these rookies on this team already looking like they could be playing at that U level, and they are still here, and they still have 2 more years to develop those skills. And if they stick with it, can only imagine the places that those players will go.
And here we go, the interprovincial champions, West Ottawa Knights, defeating the Orleans Bengals for the best midget team in this part of the country.
You just can't help but smile for this team right now.
And they raise the banner and lift the trophy. And that is a great period to the end of the 2019 NCAFA football season. We want to thank everyone for coming along on this journey today. We've had a ton of football games, starting with Mosquito, Pee Wee, Bantam, all the way through the Knights winning at Midget and at Mosquito, and the Myers Riders losing both at Pee Wee and Bantam. So the Knights take the day, and we want to thank everyone for tuning in and being a supporter of the House Edge Sports Network. We want to thank CK, DJ, and Devin for his commentary over the last couple weeks, and we're going to be back in 2020 with more great football. Stay tuned. On behalf of the entire crew sticking it out, our camera ops, it got pretty cold tonight. At least there was no rain and we had shelter, but I want to thank all the people that have come out and worked with HESN this year. I'm Jesse Card on behalf of the entire crew. We'll leave you with a shot, and we'll tune out and we'll go offline very shortly, but there you're looking at your interprovincial champions, the West Ottawa Knights.
With the perfect season, I might add.